Welcome back, humor consumers, to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraff.
Hi, Tracy. I'm Cathrine, co-host.
Oh,
bestie.
You jumped right in there. Hi, Cathrine.
It's caffeine.
I know we're drinking coffee, friends, so prepare yourself.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. Welcome aboard to episode number 123. We are chugging along with our episodes, and today's topic is a fun one. What is it, Cathrine?
Colonoscopy.
Doesn't everybody love to talk about
everybody.
that?
Because it's coming.
I know. Up next, hemorrhoids.
Yeah. Gosh. That is not on our list.
No, it's not, but it should be because everybody has them. All right. It's a fact. Let's just go over our kind of a rundown real quickly of who we are and what we're doing in case somebody's listening for the very first time. So just tell them what we do on this podcast. You want to do it? You want me to do it? Okay, go for it.
Well, we are two besties. You are, as you said, a comedian, clean comedian. Mm-hmm. And when the pandemic was, happening, your manager said, you need to do a podcast. And you dragged me along with it. And I was like, okay,
right. Because I was like, I'm not going to talk by myself.
Well, you could totally do it. But anyway, so here we are. And we are...
We're having a good time.
We're having a good time.
I just crossed my eyes and made her laugh.
Yes, that's exactly what she did. And we're just bringing topics to our audiences and hoping that we have a big audience, tens and tens.
We do. We have more than that. Hundreds and hundreds.
We do, actually.
We actually have over 12,000 downloads now.
I know. Yeah.
I think that's pretty good.
Just, we're sitting here and it's just us. It never, it doesn't feel... Like, we don't know, other than when, we look at the stats.
Our little stats, yeah. No, we got a big audience.
Yeah.
Shut up, Cathrine. Jeez.
Anyway, and we try to bring topics that are relatable to women mostly our age.
That's right. And today's topic is definitely relatable because everybody has a colon.
Well, this is true. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a colon.
And they need to be checked. We have sponsors. So talk about our sponsors a little bit.
You know what I was thinking about today?
What?
I was like, I am so grateful for our sponsors.
Oh, me too.
Our sponsors are awesome. And they help support us by helping us with, achieve our goals in terms of, equipment and things like that. And to carry out the mission. And the mission, the ultimate mission of the podcast is to encourage and inspire our audiences. The listening audience.
Yes. So, and to point them to the Lord at the end. At the end of every podcast, we always have some sort of spiritual inspiration. Mm-hmm. And that's really the goal, is to take these topics and talk about them, but then in the end, do what we do as believers, and that is point people to faith. Exactly. It's a wonderful thing.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yeah. And it's easy if you want to become a sponsor.
It's very easy.
Actually, if you get Tracy's emails, there's a button on there. You can click on that. It'll take you right to it. And it's a simple step. Yeah,
it's on Patreon, which is a very popular website for this type of sponsorship. And it's included in all the show notes of the podcast, so you can look there for it. You can also go to my website and get it there, tracydegraff.com, or you can get it through the email, which also comes through my website, tracydegraff.com. Mm-hmm. We have a brand new sponsor.
I know. Hi, Colleen.
It is our friend Colleen Bruns, and we welcome her aboard.
Yeah, so exciting. Thank you, Colleen.
Yeah, we prayed before this episode, and Cathrine gave a prayer of thanks to God that Colleen is our new sponsor, and we both kind of said that we didn't know she was listening. So we're excited that, she's listening. And you know what? I have a feeling there's somebody listening to my voice right now who wants to sponsor us.
Well, yeah.
You know
who you are.
Yeah. They go, I should do that.
Yeah.
And
I want my name mentioned.
You know what it is? It's the procrastination. We got to get to that. We have got to get to that topic.
Well, isn't it on our list?
Yeah, but we keep saying it's next week.
Yeah.
We are going to get to it, friends. But if you have been nudged by your inner self or the Holy Spirit or whatever nudges you, if you have been nudged by the thought of, I really should sponsor this podcast because I believe that these gals are doing a good service and I love listening. Mm-hmm. If you look forward to our next episode, or if you're all caught up and you there's nothing to listen to, you're like, dang, I wish there was more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you should be a sponsor. And it's only $5 a month. And you only have to set it up one time, and then it just keeps on going.
That's true. You don't even remember you did it.
No. I mean, we'll remind you because we'll say thank you.
Yeah, that's true.
But, you know, you're not going to miss $5 a month. It's roughly $60 in a year. And, you know, that's nothing. Anyway, thank you to Colleen, Ursula, Nancy, Kenny, Karen, Janine, Ron, Darlene, Courtney, Joan, and Gail, and Carla.
Yes.
Because there were two
Good job.
sponsors who didn't want to do the $5 recurring amount, so they just sent us a check. So if that's you,
speaking of, our friend Linda.
yeah, come on, Linda, get that check. If you would like to sponsor us in that way, you are more than welcome to give us your money. All right. We'll be good stewards of it, we promise. All right, let's talk about colon cancer. We've got a couple of takeaways. So friends, do not tune out just because we're talking about the dark places. We're going to go deep and dark. What happened?
I pulled up the wrong thing. It's okay. No fear.
Okay, so we've got a couple takeaways. We're going to do a quiz. Catherine has found a quiz online, and she's going to quiz me about my colon, I guess. That's going to be fun. And then we're going to talk about causes of colon cancer, risk factors, and also prevention. And then options. I like the fact that there are some. So we're going to talk about options for screening. Okay. And then as usual, we do have an inspirational quote and scripture to close with and a call to action. All right. So you got your little quiz there?
All right. I've got this colorectal cancer quiz.
And who put this out?
It's by the American Cancer Society. All right. You ready?
I am ready.
All right. True or false? And I struggle with how to pronounce the word. Colorectal cancer can often be prevented. True or false?
That's true. Absolutely true.
Okay. Yes, that's right.
Why did you go,
I don't know why I did that.
That sounded like you got it wrong. And I'm like, I know I got it right.
I clicked on it and I had to make a sound in my I don't know why I did it.
Okay, but it's true that colorectal cancer can be prevented, friends. It can be prevented.
Regular colorectal cancer screening is one of the most powerful tools for preventing colorectal cancer. Screening is the process of looking for cancer or precancer in people who have no symptoms of the disease. Okay?
Now, think about this for 1 second, friends, if you're listening. It can be prevented, meaning not just discovered and then treated, but prevented before it's even started. That's the whole thing with these screenings is they go in there and they look for pre-cancer situations.
Yeah. In fact, I'll just read what pops up.
That's good.
Regular screening can help prevent colorectal cancer by finding abnormal colon growths called polyps so they can be removed before they have a chance to turn into cancer.
Don't you just love that?
Yes.
I love that there is that kind of technology. And I told you this yesterday about AI with colonoscopy.
Yeah. That was this morning.
Okay.
Anyway.
So AI is artificial intelligence, as we know. And we've heard like these scary things about it. Like, oh my gosh, they're going to take over the world and we're going to be killing each other and whatever. Well, that's just a bunch of bunk. Listen to this, friends. You've heard of facial recognition software, right? So on Facebook, they can kind of recognize who's in your picture and so forth. Same type of thing in the camera of the little tool that goes in up your bum and looks for lesions and polyps.
Yeah.
Same thing. So what they did was they took this facial recognition software and they applied it to this application of doing a colonoscopy, and they loaded like many images, like thousands and thousands of images of polyps and lesions that lead to colon cancer, and told the computer, when you see this, beep.
Yeah. And when you were telling me that, I was like, well, what is the advantage of using that instead of the way it's been done in the past, decade or whatever?
It's not instead of.
Right. And that's when you explain that.
Right. It's in addition. So if you're the doctor, or let's say I'm the doctor, because let's just pretend for a minute that I'm super smart and I went to school and I graduated and all of that. Now I'm
Dr. T.
Yeah, I'm Dr. T. And I'm in your butt. I'm so far up your butt. And I'm looking around with my 2 eyes, right? And I'm scanning right and I'm scanning left and I'm looking for lesions and polyps. Well, guess what? I'm a human being, so there's error, right?
Yeah.
So this technology is like a safety net that just keeps scanning with me. So it's in the camera and I'm looking with my own eyes, but the technology is just scanning for these images that look like polyps and lesions. And when it finds what it thinks is a polyp or lesion, it goes beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
And then the expert, the doctor, has to take their two little doctor eyes and go look at it.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful.
Well, thank goodness that it's both, because just like the cars that drive themselves, those kinds of things scare me. I don't like to rely on just machines at all.
Well,
I don't even like self-checkout
But
stuff.
it's nice to have the extra layer, like even the backup cameras that we have on our cars now. For how many decades did we not have that?
Yeah.
And what did we do? We looked
That's right.
behind us.
Are there any kids? No.
But now you have the benefit of the backup camera, and you can also look.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very
All
good.
right. We're going to take a while to get through this quiz. What's the next question?
Colorectal cancer isn't a big problem in the U.S.
Oh,
True
no.
or false?
Oh, that is false. It's a huge problem.
That is false. Colorectal cancer is the third most common cancer diagnosed in the United States, excluding skin cancers.
So that's a big problem. All right.
Okay, next one. I only need to get tested for colorectal cancer if something seems wrong.
False.
False. It's important to get screened for colorectal cancer, even if you feel okay. Testing before you feel bad can help prevent the disease or find it early when it's easier to treat.
That's another thing about colon cancer and its characteristics. It hides out in those dark places of your body, okay, with no symptoms. There's no pain. There's no blood. There's no change until there is. And then by the time there is, it's already advanced.
Right. And I'm going to read this here just so our listeners can be fully educated.
Yeah.
Most people with early colorectal cancer, they don't have symptoms, just like we were saying. But if you have any of the following, see a healthcare provider. A change in your bowel habits, such as diarrhea, constipation, narrowing of the stool that lasts for more than a few days. A feeling that you need to have a bowel movement that's not relieved by doing so. Rectal bleeding, dark stools or blood in the stool, cramping or belly pain, weakness and extreme tiredness that doesn't get better with rest, unexplained weight loss. And it says here that most of these symptoms are more often caused by other conditions such as infections, hemorrhoids, irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, not colorectal cancer. So don't panic if you have any of these symptoms. But still, if you have those problems, just, go seek out your doctor.
Yeah. And like she said, if you don't have those problems and you are of the age that it's time for you to get your screening, just get your screening, because even though you don't feel any problems, you don't feel any symptoms, you might feel fit as a fiddle. But you want to go and get these things checked out to make sure that you can deal with them ahead of time.
Yes.
All right. What's the next question?
All right. Next one is lifestyle choices like alcohol use, exercise, and smoking have an impact on colorectal cancer risk.
True. Absolutely true. 100%.
Yes. Colorectal cancer has been linked to the use of alcohol. It is best not to drink alcohol. If people do drink, they should have no more than 2 drinks a day for men and 1 drink a day for women.
It's always that way.
Yeah, they
so
say
unfair. Whatever.
If you are not physically active.
Okay.
All right. Most people should start colorectal screening at age 45.
True.
That is true.
It used to be 50, friends, and now it's 45. And guess why? It's 45 because they found a lot of people were getting cancer between the ages of 45 and 50. So now it's time to get that screening at 45 instead of 50.
Yeah. But if you're at high risk based on family history or other factors, you should do it before 45. Also interesting, people older than 75 should talk to their healthcare provider about whether continuing screening is right for them.
That's because I didn't know this until I was in my 50s. So I am sorry that I was so ignorant about it, but I just assumed that you needed a colonoscopy every year. And I think the reason why I assumed that was because I get a mammogram every year. And I just thought cancer screening, okay, once you start getting them, you have to get them every year. But that's not true with a colonoscopy. You only need it about every 10 years. It might be a little bit closer, like it might be every 8 years or every 5 years if you have some symptoms or if they find polyps. But that's why colon cancer is a much easier cancer to deal with than some others, because it's very slow growing. So if you're 75 or 80 or whatever, and you don't have any history of colon cancer and you've had a colonoscopy, you may not need to get another one.
Yeah.
Because it's a slow growing situation.
Yeah.
So you have to have a really good chance of living another 10 years,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a fact of life.
I know.
Sorry, but it does all come to an end. Okay. Let's move on. Go ahead.
Colonoscopy is the only test used to screen for colorectal.
There we go.
That's I can say it.
Yes.
I don't know. I see it and I want to
enunciate
every single whatever.
That's okay.
Cancer in people who have no symptoms of it.
Wait, what was the question? I knew it.
Colonoscopy is the only test used to screen for colorectal cancer in people who have no symptoms of it.
False. That is false.
The correct answer
fake
is
news.
False. It's fake news.
Yeah.
That is right. There are many tests that can look for colorectal cancer.
Yes.
Screening can be done either with a sensitive test that looks for signs of cancer in a person's stool, a stool-based test.
Right.
Poop in a box.
Yes, that's the one.
Or with an exam that looks at the colon and rectum, a visual exam.
Yeah, and we're going to go over some options in just a second.
Okay.
Is that it?
That is it. Now we could get your score. Your score is 6 out of 6, Tracy.
That's 100% in my book.
You have a strong understanding of colorectal cancer.
I could have been a doctor.
Congratulations.
Dr. T. Welcome to my office. Yeah, I know. It's going to be dark in there, but I got a light, so it's okay.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, let's talk about causes.
Let's talk about causes
and risk factors and prevention.
Yeah.
That's what we said we were going to talk about.
Yes.
What causes colon cancer, Cathrine?
They don't really know, actually, for sure. It's fuzzy stuff. So, but
fudgy.
Oh gosh.
Go ahead.
It's
fudgy.
But we do know this though. We know the risk factors. So the smoking, and by the way too, a lot of this is preventative stuff, things that you can control. But in things that you can't control is family history, your age, those kinds of things. But the first thing that comes up for colorectal cancer is being overweight or obese. Your risk of developing and dying from colorectal cancer is higher. Being overweight raises the risk of colon and rectal cancer in people, but the link seems to be stronger in men than it is for women when they're overweight. Right. But just know that, getting and staying at a healthy weight is best overall anyway.
Yeah. And diet really does make a big difference. We've learned a lot about that, about fresh, whole fruits, vegetables, whole, healthy grains.
My mom always used to say when we were growing up, roughage. Just have roughage all the time.
Well, you need to have things that your body can identify. The human body, God made the body in such an amazing way, and we're cellular from head to toe. There's cells, and so when you put things into your body that has nowhere for the cells to put it, or they don't know what to do with it, they just store it, somewhere. And there are carcinogens that are in a lot of chemicals that are ingested in processed food.
Yeah.
And, just like back in the in the 50s and in the 40s and the 30s, tobacco use was encouraged.
Yeah.
Here, this would be a way for you to relax it in the evening.
Yeah.
Your doctor says
That's
it's okay.
right.
And then they realized, oh, wait, there's a carcinogen called nicotine that creates lung cancer in people. And so a healthy diet and a healthy weight, and I say that, but yeah, I'm overweight, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Yeah. Well, awareness is the first step.
It is.
And efforts is the second step.
Yeah.
So that's all good.
Right. Become aware of it and then do what you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another risk factor is not being physically active. So if you are physically active, you have, you can at least do your best to prevent against it. I mean, it's at least one step toward preventative measures.
Not only that, but a healthy diet and exercise, those two things help so many things in our life, in our health. Mm-hmm. They help our mood. They help our weight. They help our bones.
Yeah. It
helps our joints, to keep everything moving. Yeah. If you sit around all day, every day, trust me, you're going to be at the physical therapist. That's what's going to happen.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything from moderate to vigorous physical activity is going to be really good for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Certain types of diets. A diet that's high in red meats, such as beef, pork. I didn't realize pork was considered a red meat, but it's categorized here
pigs are pink, so maybe it's a pink meat. I don't think it's as healthy as fish, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And it's probably not as bad as beef.
The advertising, they always say pork, the other white meat.
Yeah, but those are the pig farmers, Catherine.
I know.
There's like buy my pig farm stuff.
I know, but still,
I don't think pigs are very healthy. Look what they eat. They eat anything. They eat slop and roll around in mud. But bacon is delicious, so that's the problem.
And ham.
Oh, yeah.
And ribs.
Yeah, and when you think about the amount of salt that's in all that, when it's all been,
Well, especially the bacon.
And the ham.
And the ham, yes. Yeah. Well,
all right, let's move on.
Okay, but also processed meats, too.
Right, like
hot
salami.
Dogs, lunch meat, certain lunch meats.
Yeah.
Yes, they will raise your risk, okay? And this is interesting. Cooking meats at very high temperatures, like frying, broiling, or grilling, creates chemicals that might raise your cancer risk. Now, it says might. They don't know for sure. It's not clear how much this might increase your colorectal cancer risk.
I've heard that about burnt hot dogs and stuff. That's not healthy to eat that burnt stuff.
Yeah, I don't like things when they're really overcooked anyway.
Yeah.
Or grilled to where there's a crusty fire burn on there. I don't like it. Okay. So back to what we were saying, just follow a healthy eating pattern that includes plenty of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Limit or avoid red and processed meats and sugary drinks. Oops. Probably. And then again, it says probably lowers your risk.
Do you know what they told me after my breast cancer diagnosis, and I saw the nutritionist, right? And they said, here's the recommendation for you going forward for the rest of your life. You should only have beef 6 times a year.
Wow.
Not a month,
Yeah, that does seem like a lot.
Only like 1 serving every other month. 1 burger every other month, or 1 steak every other month. So that's how much the recommendation was to limit.
Wow.
You don't have to get rid of it altogether, but limit. That's kind of a lot.
I always thought, I always tried to before, even when I was really young, when early in our marriage, we mostly had chicken, sometimes fish, and pork chops. And then it would be a treat to have a steak twice a month. But as we got older, maybe it was a little bit more than that because burgers became, more and more.
Yeah.
But I've always thought that having it twice a month was okay.
Well, according to cancer nutrition, that's what it is, and that includes ground beef. So you got to think about.
I know.
Ground beef is in a lot of different things. Like a taco or a spaghetti sauce or a meatloaf.
Gosh.
So it opens your eyes. And like you just said, I love the way that you said that. You said awareness leads to action, so first become aware, and then, okay, well, maybe you just start out with, well, I'm just going to limit my red meat to once a month. Try that.
Yeah.
As a beginning.
Yeah.
And then if you can deal with it, so then you have to input with other things. So maybe you have tuna steak instead. Maybe you have more chicken, like you said, or try different kinds of fish.
Yeah.
Yum, yum.
Yeah. We had scallops and shrimp last night. It was so good.
That sounds good. I love salmon as an alternative.
I love salmon too.
Okay, let's move on.
All right. Smoking. I'm not even going to read the paragraph on that. We all know
it's so
smoking
bad
is
for
not
you.
good.
Yeah,
so.
try to get rid of that. Don't ever start. If you've never smoked, please don't ever start. It's hard to quit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alcohol use. Now, they say here that I already read it in the other thing, but they don't know for certain if this is what's contributing, because really, if you think about it, how can they really know that if someone is an occasional drinker, or even because when you take all the other factors, everybody eats these, red meat, just about, I would say the majority of the people. And when you add all of these supposed risk factors, how do you narrow it down enough?
Because you're looking at which one is the dirty culprit.
Yes,
I think that there's a general knowledge in terms of alcohol and the body, right? It's a concentrated fermented fruit or whatever it is. And just in general, it's a good idea for your basic health to not have more than one or two, depending on if you're a man or a woman.
Right, exactly. And we all know that it's good to not drink too much, but to attribute it to to have it as a contributing factor to colon cancer.
Well, and who's giving us this information?
American Cancer Society.
Well,
yeah.
They've got like real scientists, that study all that. So I think they're pretty credible.
Yeah.
All right, what next?
Okay. So the next category are risk factors you cannot change. Being older is one of them. A personal history of colorectal polyps and colorectal cancer. Also, a personal history of inflammatory bowel disease. I'm not going to read that whole thing. If you have it, it's possible that it might be a risk. A family history of colorectal cancer or adenine polyps.
Well, yeah, and if you genetically are predisposed to have this kind of a disease, obviously you can't do anything about your genes. Your genes are your genes.
Yeah.
But it's good to know. Ask some questions. Hey, Mom, Dad, did Grandma and Grandpa have colon cancer?
Yeah.
And who knows how far back it goes, because they didn't have access to all this kind of information, forever and ever.
Yeah, and this is interesting. There's also inherited syndromes. I've heard of Lynch syndrome before, but I didn't know what it was. And it's actually hereditary non-polyposis colon cancer.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a lot of information on that. So racial and ethnic background, American Indian and Alaska Native people have the highest rates of colorectal cancer in the U.S., followed by African American men and women. But overall, Jews of Eastern Europe descent have one of the highest colorectal cancer risks of any ethnic group in the world.
Also good to know, because if you fall within those groups, talk to your doctor about your risk factors and when you should start screening.
Yeah.
All the more important.
Right. And here's one that made sense to me, having type 2 diabetes. That's the type that usually are non-insulin dependent. They have an increased risk as well. And then we have factors with unclear effects on the cancer risks. And I can't believe this. They have night shift work. Some studies suggest working a night shift regularly might raise the risk of rectal cancer. This might be due to changes in levels of melatonin, which is a hormone that responds to changes in light. But more research is needed. Sleep is so important. It really is to your overall health.
So, and there can also be other factors in terms of if you're working the night shift and your sleep is interrupted and whatever, you're not getting the right amount of sleep. You're not getting the right amount of melatonin, light, whatever. You could also be kind of like not eating well, because you're sort of running around,
I think that's likely.
Grab and go kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So be mindful of that, friends.
Yeah. Eating from the vending machine because nothing's
Right.
open.
Right.
Yeah.
Going through,
Yes.
drive through.
Right. And lastly, previous treatment for certain cancers. Most of this pertains to men who have been treated for testicular cancer. What other? Prostate cancer.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in a nutshell, there's lots of different reasons that people get diagnosed with colon cancer.
Yeah.
And regardless of what the reason is, find out. Ask your doctor. Am I at average risk for colon cancer or am I at increased risk for colon cancer?
Yeah.
Ask your doctor. When should I start my screenings? Age 40? Age 45? Where am I at?
Yeah, just with anything. Yeah, you can like we just did. You can find anything on the internet, and I do trust this website. It's
American
the American
Cancer, right?
But as Tracy just said, everybody is different, and everybody has a different history. So always better to check with your doctor. And if you don't feel your doctor is feeding you with it just doesn't feel right, get another doctor.
Yeah, that's the beauty of
I just did that.
Second opinion.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about the options for screenings in just a moment, but I do want to say this because I already admitted that I was incorrect in my thinking that I thought you had to get a colonoscopy every year, and that's not right. So I was corrected there. The other thing is I had my very first colonoscopy. I'm 57 now, but I had my first one when I was about 52. I was diagnosed with breast cancer at age 50, and that would have been the year that I would have started getting my colonoscopies. However, I was dealing with surgery for breast cancer and then radiation therapy, and I just didn't get around to it. So when I did get around to it, doing the prep is something that I think is a buzzkill for a lot of people. I think there are a lot of people out there, maybe even somebody listening to us right now, who's saying, I'm not going to do a colonoscopy because I don't want to do the prep.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I've heard nightmares about it or whatever.
Right. Okay. Well, the first time that I did it, my husband was getting his colonoscopy the week before.
Yeah.
And then I was the week after. So he had done his and it went smooth as could be.
Yeah.
And he said he got the best sleep of his life, because he got that, whatever it was, the
twilight stuff,
the anesthesia that knocks you out. Well, then the next week when I went in to do mine, I was following the prep instructions, and I was like, I took the juice, and I said, I don't feel any different. I don't think it's going to work. Nothing's happening.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden,
and he goes, just wait.
Just wait.
And I'm like, I don't think it's going to work because I've never had,
yo, that's right.
I've had the other problem
Yes.
of not really desiring to go or being able to go or whatever. And then I'm like, this is not going to work for me. This figures, drink all this stuff till I'm blue in the face. And then all of a sudden, I was like, I got to go.
Oh, chica pesto.
I'll see you in about an hour.
Yeah. I hope that's not a swear word in Spanish.
Oh, gosh, it probably is.
It probably is. If it is, I don't know. I just have heard it.
So anyway, I want to say this about that with the prep. It's not as bad today in 2023 as it was
even just
5 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not as bad. Yeah. You don't have to drink as much, and it's not an explosive situation. It's done over 2 days mostly now. At least the doctor that I went to for this one that I had last year, they had me do an all liquid diet the day before. So it's easier on your system. Yeah. It's not like taking this violent stuff and like shoving everything out, and then there's not as much of it, and the taste is not as bad.
Oh,
it's not as bad.
I had mine before you, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Well,
that was awful.
I just want to say, do the prep, and the other thing is follow the directions for the prep exactly. And here's why: if you cheat, on the prep,
They'll make you go
guess
back.
what? The doctor's not going to be able to see
That's
what he
right.
needs to see.
Right.
And the idea of the colonoscopy is for them to get in there and cut out any polyps or lesions. Lesions lay flat in the colon.
Yeah.
And they're not easy to see. So that's why you have to have an empty colon.
Yeah.
You can't have any stuff in there.
Yeah, you have to do it. My parents, both of them, oh my gosh, when it was such a nightmare. But yeah, my dad, he was diabetic. He wasn't able to drink all of the stuff or whatever it was, and they got him all prepped, and they get in there, and then they say we couldn't finish
do it
because he hadn't completed all the steps. And then my mom had a torturous colon or a difficult colon, something similar to you.
Right.
Is yours tilted or what is it?
Gosh, Catherine, get it straight.
I got my dad, I had my mom. I go, come on, Tracy.
All right. It's called a tortuous colon or an extended colon. A lot of people have it. It's very common. You don't know you have it until you've had a colonoscopy. And basically what it means is that God blessed you with a lot of colon.
You're full of it.
You're literally full of it. Literally.
Yeah.
And because of that, you maybe can hold more than the average person because there's a lot of tubes in there. And it also can be a risk factor for colonoscopy because you have to have a surgeon or a gastrointestinal guy, woman, whoever, who's an expert with that.
Yeah.
So you don't want just the average person going in there.
They have to be able to.
They have
get
to be
in
able
there.
to navigate the twists and turns of an extended colon.
Yeah.
So go to an expert.
Do you remember when we first started discussing this? Kenny is 56 now.
Yeah.
But when he was approaching 50, I was like, Kenny, you have got to get a colonoscopy. It's time. And do you remember what he said? I had it done. And I was like,
You did not.
you did not. He goes, yes, I did. And then he's like, the doctor said, bend over, and went with his fingers. That's not a colonoscopy. He literally thought that's what it was.
That's funny. Well, you don't know what you don't know until you know.
It's so
now you know.
He knows.
Now he knows.
Yeah. So funny.
All right. So all that to say, the prep, you have to just follow the directions exactly and do it well.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about options.
Yes.
So there are options. There's the colonoscopy. In the healthcare world, they call that the gold standard for colon cancer screenings.
Yeah.
The reason that they call it the gold standard is because it's actually inside the colon. You see it, you can cut it out, so you can diagnose and perform
Take
a therapy.
care of it right
you can
away.
get rid of it. Yeah. And so it's been called a gold standard for many years now. Now, it's not without risk. There's definitely risks with a colonoscopy. They could puncture the bowel, and that's there could be bleeding, and you can actually die from it. So you want to go over all those risks, but just like with any healthcare decision, you weigh the risks and the benefits.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a new study out. It came out about 6 months ago. I called it up here on my screen, and it's from Europe. And it's the effect of colonoscopy screenings on risks of colorectal cancer and related death. So that's what it is. It's basically saying, is colonoscopy worth it? Right? That's kind of the basics of this study. And what they did was they took, let me look and see how many. This was in Sweden and the Netherlands, Poland, and Norway. And it was on a randomized trial on men and women aged 55 to 64 years of age. Okay. There were 84,000 participants in the study. And bottom line, they came up with, it really didn't make that much of a difference. Colonoscopy really didn't affect death that much. However, the numbers were skewed a little bit because what they did was they took half of the participants and they offered them a colonoscopy. Well, only 42% of the half said, sure, I'll get one. So that left 58% of the half going, I don't want one.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other 42,000 participants didn't get a colonoscopy.
Okay.
Okay. And so they did the statistics on those numbers and it skewed it
Yeah.
in the end.
Yeah. They're fuzzy numbers.
They're fuzzy math, Catherine.
Yeah.
So you can look at things like this and you can look at headlines. And I'm looking at the actual study, and this came out of the New England Journal of Medicine. And I looked at different doctors' reactions to the study.
Mm-hmm.
Some holistic doctors are like, see, I told you.
Yeah.
I told you you didn't need to get a colonoscopy. And they're mostly chiropractors, I think. And they sell supplements.
Yes.
Supplements to prevent colon cancer.
Yeah.
But then you have other doctors who are saying, now, wait a minute, these numbers are skewed. Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason I bring this up is because you're an intelligent person who's listening to me right now. You have your own brain and you have your own body and you're in charge of it. Okay. So talk to your doctor about a colonoscopy. If you are age 40, 45, and if you're 50 or up and you've never had one, talk to your doctor about it.
Yeah.
And then if you see studies like this, look into it. I tried to find out who funded the study, but I couldn't decipher that. Okay, so colonoscopy is one option, and they consider that the gold standard. But you also have things like Cologuard. You've seen the ads on TV for that.
Yeah, a little white box with the blue outline.
That's the one.
Yep.
Let's say, for example, that there's no way you're going to agree to get a colonoscopy because you just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
For whatever the reason is. If you're not going to do that, then at least do the Cologuard. And Cologuard, or there may be other brands, I don't know, but talk to your doctor about what are the options for you. And basically all you do is take a little bit of stool, you put it in this test tube, and you send it off to the lab.
Yeah.
And then they look for blood. They also look for DNA that is like extracted from colon cancer. And if they find blood, and sometimes they do have false positives because they might find blood from a hemorrhoid or something like that. That's not trying to kill you.
Yeah.
It's just trying to annoy you. Then you would have a colonoscopy to rule out cancer, and then you'd be good. The one caveat, I did not know this, is that if you get the Cologuard test first, and then you need to get a colonoscopy, that colonoscopy is considered diagnostic, not screening. And it's a different way to bill you. So you may have to pay more.
Right.
So check with your insurance if that's a concern of yours.
Yeah.
If that's not a concern of yours, then don't worry about it. But if you're concerned with cost of colon cancer screening, just know that, insurance.
Yeah. I'll just add, because I'm thinking, why, if you do the box choice, the poop in the box, okay, if you do that and then you find out, oh, well, you need a colonoscopy anyway, I mean, all that trouble, but also it doesn't find polyps. We know that. And the benefit of having the colonoscopy is that they can see the polyps, as we've already established, and then they can remove it right away. And the good thing is that it takes about 10 to 15 years for those polyps to develop into
full-blown cancer.
Yeah. So I just see it as so many advantages of actually doing the colonoscopy. I get it that personal choice, and it is, but you have no idea what's going on when you get it done. That's another benefit.
I think there's so many benefits to a colonoscopy. One is you don't have to cook for a couple days, right? That's a benefit. There's no dishes to do. Dunzo.
It depends.
Well, I'm not cooking for somebody else. If I have to drink all this liquid, you think I'm going to cook for my muffin? No. I feel like go out to eat. Yeah. But I can relate to people who are like, no, I just don't want to get it for whatever the reason. If it's fear of maybe a puncture of the bowel, or if it's maybe they knew somebody who had a botched colonoscopy, I don't know. The best colon cancer screening for you is going to be the one that you're going to actually do. So if you're not going to do a colonoscopy, don't worry about it. Just get the other one, but talk to your doctor about colon cancer. Just for your own sake, and for your family's sake too, because as we know with cancer, if you get cancer, your family's going on that journey with you, whether you like it or not. All right. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No, I think we've covered quite a lot.
We did.
Yes.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
wait though. I
uh-oh.
just pulled something up here.
what is it?
It says non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Many studies have found that people who regularly take aspirin or other non-steroid, the NSAID,
Right.
whatever they say, such as ibuprofen, have a lower risk of colorectal cancer. Oh, great.
Yeah.
I'm always getting after Kenny for taking so much ibuprofen.
talk to your doctor about it.
Yeah.
Obviously you would still need to have a screening. It's not a screen. It's not a way to screen for cancer, but they may have done a study that shows that those people have a lower risk factor.
Yeah. Well, actually, I scrolled down some more and read more about the non-steroidal stuff, and there's the other things that are not good. So anyway,
Yeah.
it's always something.
Well, let's talk about our inspirational close.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what we do every time we do an episode. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 19 to 20. It says this: "Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought with a price. Therefore, honor God with your body."
There you go.
And it's more than just doing the cancer screening. I mean, I feel conviction myself to make the best choice that I possibly can make for stuff I put in my body and for the way in which I move, and even just taking good care of myself, taking good care of my mental health, taking good care of my sleep, making sure that I'm not stressed to the max, all those kinds of things.
Yes.
All right, call to action. What say you, Catherine?
Get your screening.
Get your screening. Talk to your doctor.
Yep.
And please know that we're not doctors. I don't know if you've noticed that. But we're just average women.
No, but we have common sense.
We have common sense.
We have a little bit of understanding of what works and doesn't work.
Yeah, and we're moms, and we've been there, done that. But we have doctors, and that's why we go to the doctor.
That's right.
Go
That
to the
phone's
doctor.
ringing. Oh, I gotta get this.
Oh, go ahead. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you've been listening to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraff.
And I'm Catherine.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.